Hello, I'd like to start this lesson with 3 questions. First question, which tense do you use in English if you want to describe a past activity that is still happening now? What tense can you use if you want to show the result of an action that started in the past at an unspecified time? Also, what tense do you use in the English language when you want to describe an experience at an unspecified time in the past? The answer to those 3 questions can be the present perfect simple. Now, this lesson is not specifically going to look at the present perfect simple, but we're going to look at adverbs and how we can use different kinds of adverbs to add a lot more information to the present perfect simple. Now, if we look at the structure of the present perfect simple, it should be fairly familiar to you. For example, subject, have or has, depending on the third person form, and of course, the past participle. Now, as you can see, we've got adverbs here, highlighted in green in the sentences. And we're going to go through these sentences and explain the meaning and use of them. So, for example, I've just done the shopping. So, by adding just in between have and the past participle, you give a lot of information about when the activity was done. If I just said, I've done the shopping, then we have really very little information about when the shopping was actually done. By adding just, we know that very recently the shopping was finished. We've already seen this film. So again, the position of the adverb, very similar to just, in between have and the past participle. Now, already suggests repetition. So for example, we've already seen this film. What we're saying is, we've seen this before, maybe more than once. So often, already is used with the present perfect simple to describe activities that have been done before. Possibly in this context, in a negative sense, in that we've seen this film before, we don't want to see it again. You've visited this country before. Simple. When you use before, you can put it at the end of a present perfect simple sentence. You can't say you've before visited this country, so it doesn't behave in the same way as just and already, but simple. You've done this before. This isn't the first time you've been to this country. I've still got your cat. So still, similar to just and already, the position is very clear, in between have and the past participle. I've still got your cat, meaning my cat is still, your cat is still in my house. That is to say, I've had it for some time. Maybe you would like to take your cat back? So with still, again, depending on the situation, can be negative. For example, I've still got time, meaning I still have some time to do things. I have always loved chocolate. Now, this is an adverb of frequency describing how often something happens. So again, it goes in between the have and the past participle, and it describes how often this thing has been done. In this case, loving chocolate, and this person has always loved chocolate. Now, if you can use always in this way, that does mean you can also use usually, sometimes, and never as well. I've lived here since January 2000, and I've been here for 2 hours. For and since are quite different from just, already, and some of the adverbs we've looked at so far, in that they're directly connected to time. And as you can see, they don't go where some of the other adverbs go, and in fact, they're directly connected to time expressions. So when we use since with the present perfect simple, we're talking about a specific moment in time. So I've lived here since January 2000, meaning I've lived here for 16 years, for example. I've been here for 2 hours. Well, we don't have a specific moment in the past that connects the present perfect simple from the past to the present, but instead, we've got an amount of time. So I've been here for 2 hours. By using for, we're describing the exact amount of time we've been in this location. So far in the lesson, we've looked at the relationship between the present perfect simple and different kinds of adverbs in affirmative sentences. When we say affirmative sentences, we mean positive sentences. Now we're going to have a look at the present perfect simple in the negative and the different adverbs we can use in this context. So the structure is the same. Subject, have or has, past participle with negative connotations. So for example, I've never been to that doctor. So again, we put the adverb in between the have and the past participle. And here, similar to when we used always in the affirmative sentences, what we're saying is, this is the first time we've been to this doctor. I've never done it. It's an experience I have never had before. He still hasn't done his homework. Now, the difficult thing for students sometimes is the fact that adverb position is not fixed. If you remember still from the affirmative sentences, you will see he has, I have still got your cat. Whereas here in the negative sentence, still goes before both hasn't and done. So in this case, still meaning there is still time for him to do his homework. His homework is not done, and by using still here, we're emphasizing the amount of time that this activity has not been done. I haven't always done my hair this way. So you can see a pattern emerging here. When we use adverbs of frequency, always, usually, sometimes, never, they go between have or hasn't and the past participle in both affirmative and negative sentences. In this instance, we're describing the fact that this person has never had their hair done this way, and in fact, in the negative sense, they haven't always had their hair this way. Now, also what suggests to me in this sentence is, I haven't always done my hair this way, so now I have changed it. I haven't seen you here before. Again, with the adverb before, similar to affirmative sentences, goes at the end of the sentence. This time, instead of suggesting in an affirmative sentence that we have done this thing before, what we're suggesting is that this is the first time we've been here. I haven't finished my work yet. So, yet, again, like before, goes at the end of a present perfect simple sentence. Now, I haven't finished work yet, meaning there is time for me to finish it. Soon in the future, it will be done. But for now, I haven't yet. If you want me to do something else, you're going to have to wait. He just hasn't understood the question. So, in the affirmative sentences, we saw the fact that just goes between have or haven't and the past participle, whereas in the negative sentence, like still, it goes before both the have or the haven't and the past participle. And here again, we're not referring to the fact that an activity was recently finished. In fact, we're emphasizing the negative. He just hasn't understood the question, so he's understood nothing in the question. So far then, we've seen affirmative and negative sentences that use the present perfect simple, as well as the adverbs and the way that adverbs are used to add emphasis, to change details to the present perfect simple sentences. Here, what we're going to look at now are question forms of the present perfect simple, and again, how the adverbs are used in these questions. So, we'll start with, have you been to the new shopping centre yet? The basic structure of the present perfect simple as a yes-no question, and we've added yet, because what we're adding here is emphasis on the intentions of the person we're asking this question to. As in, they said they were going to go to the supermarket, and we would like to know if they've done this. What have you already eaten? So again, longer, more complicated form of the present perfect question this time. And we've added already to gain information about repetition, as in what has happened before. And in this case, we want to know what this person has eaten before. Have you just got back? When we use just with the present perfect simple, it is talking about recently completed activities, very recently completed activities. So by asking this question here, maybe we've got some extra information. Their coat is still on inside the house, or they're putting away their umbrella, or taking their shoes off. And we want to know if they have just got back. When they got back, was it recently? What has he always enjoyed? So again, when we're using adverbs of frequency within the present perfect simple, it's a question of how often and sometimes how much. So there is quite a big difference between what has he enjoyed, very general, too general in fact, compared with what has he always enjoyed. That is to say, we're asking, what does this person 100% like in his life? Have you still got any mushrooms? So a lot of information contained when we use still in the present perfect simple. In this case, probably we're in a shop and we knew that there were mushrooms here before, and we would like to find out if there are any still here, as in we want some more, we think maybe they've gone. Do you have any? Has she never been there before? So again, we've used the adverb of frequency with the present perfect simple to find out how often, how much, and in this place we're checking. She seems like she's never been here before. Has she never been here before? Because it feels like it. So in this lesson, we've looked at the present perfect simple and various adverbs and their uses within the present perfect simple. We looked at affirmative sentences, negative sentences, and then we looked at various question forms. To check that you've understood, you can now take the exercises which follow this lesson. Good luck.